Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining us tonight once again on our Thursday Night Live Facebook podcast. As always, I welcome all of our viewers, you for tuning in tonight. And we always want to thank Silly Panda Media for hosting us tonight, as well as the Blacksmith with our sound. And so right now, as always, the same, I ask that you share the link that is available so that our other viewers on your Facebook page can join us. We have a very special guest tonight. He's with us, David Gonzalez.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And he is the founder, owner, CEO of West Coast Photo Booth. And he does an amazing job with this. If you guys aren't familiar with what photo booths are, weddings, birthdays, corporate events, they're the booths where you have like a pretty background and you've got a camera in front of you and you can do different poses, different props, I guess is what they would be, right? And you can take photos. So that's what this guy does. But as we like to include with the businesses that we help promote, they all have a story, a unique story. And David is no different. We meaning Jose and I, we had the pleasure of meeting with him and kind of getting to know him a little bit better. And his story is something that's unique to some maybe not. But we wanted him to kind of share with you all. And, as I always ask our guests to kind of share a bio, a little bit about them so that we can get to know them better as well. And David, you have had a lot of obstacles that you've had to face to get to where you are. And just in case you guys are looking at him, he's, when I was actually promoting earlier on Instagram, I was saying he's a kid, which I didn't mean it in an offensive way, but in a good way, meaning that you're very young.
No, I get it.
You're 25 years young.
Yeah.
You own a business. And how long have you owned this business?
4 years.
4 years, you guys, meaning you were 21.
Yeah.
Okay. 21 years old when he started. So those of you that are watching, whether you're young, middle-aged, older, or you think you're old, you're never too young or too old to start your own business. I mean, that's where we're at right now too. I would say we're middle-aged, young,
yeah.
And it's never too late to start. So I want you, David, first of all, thank you for joining us tonight. But I really, really want you to share your story as far as what led up to this point in you owning your own business and what, really motivated you and really got you to a place to where you wanted to do this. And then not just that, but also, I know you shared with Jose and I about the meaning even behind it as you're working and meeting with different people, at these events, how much it means to you to be able to just be something or do something there at their special event. You're not just a booth that sets up and takes pictures for people to have memories with, but they're very special memories that you've captured. And so let's just start with you sharing, about, we're going to take you back to a little bit of his childhood, which wasn't too long ago. But I really want you to share because I think that you have an amazing story, like I said. And I really feel that you're going to motivate and you're going to encourage people that might be going through the same thing that you did during that period of time, but then also where they're at today and not really sure of what to do because you have so much knowledge and you still you're helping people at the same time along owning this business. You're also helping people to overcome, what they might feel like they're being held back in.
Definitely.
Okay.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me on the show. I've been watching it for a while, and your show is amazing, and I'm really grateful to be here. And yeah, definitely, I think the things that I do are definitely with purpose. But I guess I'll go back and start with myself, right?
Mm-hmm.
My name is David Gonzalez, and I am undocumented. I was born in Mexico, and I came to the U.S. when I was 9 years old. I remember when I came over, I the first food I ate was a burrito. And the person that brought me told me, "Hey, are you hungry?" I said, "Yes, of course." I was really hungry. I had been in the car for a while, and they told me, "Oh, do you want a burrito?" And I said, "Sure," but I don't know what that is. They didn't have those in Mexico. That's an American food. And so he said, "How many do you want?" I said, "Well, maybe just two, I don't want to impose too much, And so we're at a gas station and he comes back. Well, he said, "Are you sure?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm not that hungry." And he comes back with this big burrito. I didn't even finish the first half of that. And then I remember coming and they dropped me off here in La Colonia in Parque del Sol. And there I was met by my grandma who had been there since I was born in 1994. She came to the U.S. Right after I was born. And then my mom and my dad had been in the U.S. for a few months while they gathered the money for me to be able to come as well. And yeah, I think that was a great reunion because I had been going from one uncle to another, just like they couldn't keep me all the time, so I was just moving around. It, and at some point, I felt that I might not be able to go back with my parents. I don't know why, but just being separated from them was hard, and I think the reunion there was pretty great. And I grew up in Colonia. I was there, and we moved around a lot, but always within Colonia. And until one time, we actually had the opportunity to buy a house in 2008, right before the recession. And it's funny, I was thinking about it when I was driving here because it's like coming full circle. The house we actually bought was right on B Street, or like really close by around here. And so basically, we had the house for a few months until the recession hit and we lost the house. And we had to, unfortunately, go back to renting and just I had to go move back. And I remember how destroyed my parents were, like emotionally.
Yeah.
I remember them crying, feeling so impotent of not being able to to continue paying mortgage. And again, at that time I was going to E.O. Green Junior High School. And I was there when Larry King was shot.
Oh, the shooting.
In the shooting, and that was also pretty traumatic. And then I moved to Pacifica. I went through high school there, but when I was a freshman there, I kind of figured that my friends were talking about college. They were also talking about getting their driver's licenses and a lot of stuff that I came to understand that I couldn't do. I couldn't get my driver's license, and I couldn't get financial aid to go to university. So at that moment, I was feeling really lost, hopeless, and thankfully, a friend of mine actually dragged me to this leadership camp. Shout out to Future Leaders of America, because I feel like without them, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. This leadership camp just really helped me do a 180 on my life, really, because I was failing a lot of my classes. I was ditching. I started hanging out with the wrong people.
What? You? Yeah. Whoa.
I know. I know I look very innocent, and yeah, but
your looks are deceiving, right?
definitely. And I feel like I went through that leadership camp, and the one thing that I took from there is that I met people who were undocumented, who were getting through college without any help, without any financial aid. And I thought, well, if they can do it, I can do it too. So I came back to school. I started putting effort because I've never considered myself dumb or anything. School was not, I just thought school was not for me. And so I started doing better. and I ended up with like a 2.79 GPA,
Wow.
which was not great, but it was better than the 0.3 that I had. And so I was able to go straight to a university. In 2013, I went to Cal State Northridge, um, and I just really wanted to get out there. You know, there was always the choice of going to community college, but I really wanted to get out there and do it. Um, and I went, and it wasn't the best experience because I went to, I applied to go to the dorms, and I did the whole thing. And I enjoyed it for about 3-4 months until I couldn't pay it anymore. And at that point, the university kicked me out of the dorms, and so I had to find another place to live, right? But I didn't want to be a burden to my parents because they were very low income, and so I was basically couch surfing and going from one place to another, from one friend to another, and I did that, and I would when I was in college, that's when I really started hustling because I was not getting any financial aid from the state, from the government, nothing. So then I had to be creative and figure out how to pay for it. I remember doing basically like potlucks where we would make food and sell it to friends and family, and that's how I would try to get money to get by, you know. And then from there, I started my first business when I was like 18. I started selling things at the swap meet. So basically, like phone chargers, car chargers, speakers, everything I could do. I would go to downtown LA, buy a bunch of stuff, and then come to Oxnard, Ventura, and go sell it. And that was really like one of my first businesses that was like you buying something, selling it, and just
Resell.
reselling it, and just trying to hustle with that. And then somewhere around my third year of college, my
It's okay. Take your time.
yeah, my father was deported, um, and it was very difficult because I remember he got arrested, taken to like the Ventura County Jail, um, and then from there we knew what was next. You go through the court, and then they hand you over to immigration. And so I had about $3,000, which was the tuition for my next semester of school. And it was either pay my tuition for the next semester or pay to bail him out. And of course, it wasn't really like a comparison.
Right.
You know, I bailed him out right away. And he ended up, this was around December, and he was able to spend the holidays with us, but the judge had decided that he needed to get out of the country by the end of the year. So I think the judge could have been like, you have to leave right now, immediately, you know, but he was able to spend the holidays with us. And on the last day of the year, my grandma and I drove him to the Mexico border by San Diego, San Isidro, actually. And he spent the New Year in Mexico, and we spent it without him. And I think what hurts me the most about that moment is really that, of course, I missed him, and it was a horrible feeling, but I understood that there were laws and things like that could happen. Like I had an idea that could happen, but then it was always very difficult to explain it to my baby sister, who was around 5 years old at the time. And it was kind of like, how do you explain to a 5-year-old that her dad is not coming back home.
Mm.
Um, and that's kind of like what kind of like really broke me, because it was very tough to be able to tell her and my other sisters as well,
Mm-hmm.
um, um, for them to understand the situation,
Yeah.
But I think after that, I I became more dedicated and more, um, I don't know
Like
what the word is.
focused.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
focused, more empowered, really, because um, I wanted to help out my community more, and I'm kind of deviating a little bit from the photo
No,
booth,
you're
but
okay.
really, I started doing more. My dad was deported because he didn't know his rights. If he
Mm-hmm.
would have known his rights, then he would have probably still be here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and and so what I did is started learning about immigration, and then I interned with an immigration attorney in Ventura County. Then I went to do work in LA for another national nonprofit called
Mm-hmm.
Chirla, and they did a lot of great work in terms of helping people apply for certain immigration
Mm-hmm.
documents, applications. We can talk about that for a long time, but
Yeah.
really, that's kind of like a passion of mine, to really help people. Um, and then,
Is that something, sorry to interrupt you,
go
but is
ahead.
that something, for those that, the viewers that don't know about Future Leaders of America, is that something within that group that you did start to learn? Because I know you did mention that there were other students that were there that were also undocumented.
Hmm.
So when you got to that point, when you were attending the camp, obviously in communicating and meeting with them, you discovered that them too, also being undocumented, you're able to connect with them and relate. So you guys all have, something in common. Did you at that time kind of ask them, like, hey, so what are you doing to continue your education? Did they start kind of connecting you and leading you to the right people to be able to further your education, as far as like getting the grants or loans or whatever, to be able to attend school?
Yeah, definitely. I think with Future Leaders of America, it was uh, sort of like a mentorship,
Mm-hmm.
where people had gone through the program years before, and now they were at a place where they could tell you, hey, this is how to do it, and these are the places you need to go to, and ask for help.
Mm-hmm.
So that definitely helped a lot. But even then, at the university at CSUN, there was not a lot of help at that time.
Mm-hmm.
um, I actually organized with a local school group called Dreams to Be Heard,
Mm-hmm.
and we advocated to get a Dreams Center. And basically, this Dream Center is centralizing all the resources for all the students on campus.
Mm-hmm.
And so right now they have like 5 staff, and they help hundreds of students every year. So I think that was really a great accomplishment during my time at CSUN.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely, Future Leaders of America does their summer leadership camps every year, every summer.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, you should look them up, and they're on Instagram.
Do you ever go back and kind of like look and see who's there, or?
Definitely. So uh, it's always great to give back, and I can't every summer, but I try to go back during the summers.
Mm-hmm.
They give you the opportunity to do that, to give back, and
Mm.
you can go back as a facilitator in different positions,
Oh.
where you can be there to guide the students, the new generations coming.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely.
So now with you, obviously, okay, yes, you are owner of the photo booth, West Coast Photo Booth, but you're also, because this has been something, like you said, with the deportation of your dad, it kind of pushed you into wanting to learn more and how to help other people, that are also undocumented. So because of that, you work for a nonprofit and you assist others that are undocumented.
Yeah.
This is your Monday through Friday, but
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's not just Monday through Friday. It's probably always on your mind as well. how has that how has that led you, even like with meeting different people, different business owners, that you see where you really are able to help them? Like, do you have people coming to you and asking you for help, or is it just something that comes across and you're able to like discuss it with them? Like, do you freely like offer also like your services and your knowledge of knowing, because that is a lot of information. I can think of like, a few of my really good friends, one in particular, that did struggle for years in a relationship because she was undocumented. She didn't have her papers. And, she was in a relationship where she felt she had to be in, you know, because of marriage, and didn't know that she had options, like you said, with your dad, because they don't know of their, the rights that they have, even being undocumented. And I think that that's probably a lot of people out there that they feel because they are undocumented that they don't have rights, but they do.
Yeah, definitely.
So do you think that that's something like where you offer freely, or people just know like, hey, contact this guy, David?
Yeah. So definitely, I think my 9 to 5 job, I'm always on call, really. If there's an emergency where like somebody's getting detained by immigration, actually just like an hour before coming here, a friend messaged me, and somebody was in an accident. They're undocumented, and they were wondering if they could go to the hospital because
Wow.
they don't have insurance. And it's like, I didn't know that at the moment, but I have great coworkers, and the nonprofit that I work for today is called MyCop. It's Mixteco Indígena Community Organizing Project. We really focus on helping the undocumented and the indigenous community in Ventura County and Santa Barbara County, and 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 I was able to call my coworkers and say, hey, I know you deal more with like the health related things, right? And so they were able to give me an answer, and so to be able to help them out. And yeah, I feel like anybody that approaches me, I'm always able to share my knowledge, really, because that's the reason why I started learning about it. Because I could have kept on living my life. I could have kept on just playing soccer and like hanging out with my friends, going out every weekend, and like just chilling, right?
Yeah.
But
David doesn't seem like the party kind of guy, but don't let his looks fool you. And I had even told you, okay, I'm going to say this too, and it's funny, but it's not funny, and I don't mean it like to make fun of you either. But when we had met you before at one of the mixtures, again, another Christina Brophy event.
Yeah.
But then also I know Yedit is one of your biggest fans from.
Yeah.
She's actually watching. She said, "Hi, David."
Hi.
But what I had said was like, if you were part Asian or something, because your
Yeah.
eyes are chinito, but you're like, no, people always tell me that though, or ask me that, but it's not. And what part of Mexico City are you from?
Well, I'm actually from the state of Mexico.
Okay.
And then I was born there, and then I grew up in Mexico City. So I really don't know what part. I don't remember. But what I always feel is like some great grandfather was Asian, Filipino. Or something. I know it's in there.
You need to slang egg rolls. You did okay. Oh, and that was the other thing. So you're getting your making it happen, right? To make finances so that you can have school. But you also said, I know that when we met with you, you did say also that you made tamales, right? You were doing tamales and selling tamales. Do you ever, Manny's here, for those of you guys that know Vinaholics, he's here, and he slangs Texas style tamales, Granny's tamales. They're Texas grown, and then his wife, Vero Luscious, she brought that Texas style here
Cool.
to Ventura County, and so they look like taquitos, but they're so good. But the spinach and cream cheese ones are my favorite. But for you, when you were doing tamales, like, was that like a steady income also for you, of ways besides doing like the swap meet? Was that along the same time that you were doing the swap meet stuff, like reselling stuff to make money?
Yeah, definitely. I think it was not super steady because I would do different things. Before I met my girlfriend, I was really I was not focused at all. I was anything I could sell, I would try to sell it. I remember working with somebody that owned a tire shop, and I was at the swap meet, so I would take some of his rims and put them on the side next to my speakers, and be like, hey, you need some like used tires, the rims or whatever, and just try to connect people to it.
Very resourceful.
I feel I feel like that I've been doing that for a long time, and a lot of people just I have like 2,000 contacts on my phone.
Oh my gosh.
So I get random calls from people like when I used to sell speakers, like from years ago, and they're like, "Hey, I'm looking for another speaker," and I'm like, well, I don't sell them anymore, but I'll connect you with someone. Um, and it wasn't always just tamales, but I do remember just making the tamales with the hoja de plátano, and it really I didn't know how to make them. It was my mom and like other people that would help me out. Yeah. Now I've been more into cooking and doing that type of stuff, but back then it wasn't that much.
So what you're saying is your girlfriend put
yeah.
you on check. She stabilized you.
Yeah,
What she did.
Yeah, because I was all over the place with everything. And
shout out to your girlfriend who's watching, because she's also watching.
Definitely. And so it now I have a focus, and the focus has been my photo booth business. And the way that started is basically again, hustling, trying to get more money. I ran into somebody that wanted to hire me to do a photo booth event for him as an assistant, and just carry his stuff and take it in and help him set it up and do all that stuff. And we did it, and we kind of clicked. His name is Joshua. He's in San Francisco now. But basically, I worked with him for a few years. And he really started trusting me, and he started letting me go to the events on my own and just doing everything on my own, and of course paying me more too. And I really liked that part of the photo booth business, because that it's a small part, but it was a lot of fun. It was like getting people in the photo booth, making them do weird faces, and and when people are drunk, they're really good at taking pictures. So just capitalizing on all that and learning all these things. And I remember also like a really scary time where with the photo booth, really. Well, okay, the scariest thing that can happen to somebody that has a photo booth is to not have something that they're not prepared or whatnot, right? And so Joshua sent me to an event in Santa Barbara, and I picked up the stuff and I took it, and I was over there setting up and getting everything ready, and he forgot the pole that holds the photo booth. So then I had to improvise and just figure out what to do. I asked for one of those the tables for drinks. What are they called? Cocktail tables. And I just put the head of the photo booth on top of that table, and I was like adjusting, basing it on where people were standing, and just like moving it the whole time. And we got through it, and people had a lot of fun. They didn't even know that's how the photo booth worked. You know?
But that's smart though, because again, you're very resourceful. You could have been like, what am I going to do, and panicked, and then sorry guys, we can't do your event, right? But you were resourceful, and you made it work for you, and it did. And an obstacle that was that you faced, but then you learned from it, right? So going forward, now you're like always checking everything to make sure you have it.
So when I told him that happened, he told me he probably wouldn't have gone through with the event.
Wow.
So I felt really good. And anyway, a few years after working with him, he actually decided to take his business and moving to San Francisco.
Wow.
So he took his business, he went to San Francisco, but in that time he told me if I wanted to buy a photo booth and keep running the business here in Ventura County. And I jumped on it. I gathered some money, and that's how West Coast Photo Booth started. And yeah,
that's the birth of the West Coast Photo Booth, guys. So, with all of that, what would be? Because I know you do corporate events also. So, what would you say is the biggest corporate event that you've done through West Coast Photo Booth?
I was actually thinking about it. We did an event for Mitsubishi in LA.
Mm-hmm.
So that was definitely one of the biggest events we had. I can't speak on the details. Yeah, we have a contract, but
It's a secret.
that was definitely one of the best events. And what I provide for corporate events or like other businesses is really not just a really fun experience, but analytics, which is something that is really helpful when you're running a business. And um, basically we're able to track, right? So somebody takes a picture, they share it instantly to their phones
Mm-hmm.
or email, and the software allows us to track how many times that picture specifically has been shared on social media, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, even,
Mm-hmm.
um, and then be able to give a complete report to the business owners to tell them, hey, you
Oh,
know what,
wow.
we were able to reach 100,000 people
Oh,
that didn't know
wow.
about your event before, and now they do. And so we also are able to track how many people click on. We make kind
The
of like an
picture.
ad.
Uh-huh.
So we have like a microsite basically where all the pictures go, and then when people go to download them, they can click on the ad for that business,
Mm-hmm.
and then that'll take them to their website, right?
Oh,
And
wow.
so we're able to track that as well. So
That's awesome.
it's very useful for the
Yeah.
corporate
And it goes
clients.
full circle because it's not only just promoting their business, but it's promoting yours as well.
Yeah, definitely.
And then you figure if you're doing an event in LA, there's no telling who's clicking on that that's elsewhere,
Hmm.
and I think that's like a great thing. You're not just within Ventura County, you do travel to LA. What's the furthest that you've gone out?
Um, UC Irvine,
Really? Okay.
hmm which
That's a
is
drive.
2 or 3 hours away.
But so you lived in LA before too? Or you just went out to,
Yeah, I lived in LA
okay.
for a couple of years. I lived
So
in
you're
LA.
familiar kind of too, like with the areas and
Yeah,
whatnot.
definitely. I
That's
like driving
cool.
a lot. Not so much anymore after living in LA because traffic was horrible. but
Take you an hour to get a couple blocks over,
but
right?
get me on the freeway and I'll be okay. Long distance. Yeah.
So how is it now, with you being now a business owner? And I know you had mentioned before we went live, um, it's you, your mom, your sisters, your girlfriend. You're pretty much like the hub of your home, with your dad still being in Mexico now. Um, you don't get to talk to him as often as you had shared. Just, communication wise, cell phone, reception and whatnot. How how is it that you feel as far as your role in your home? Like, do you feel like literally you are the man of the home in your dad's absence? Um, Not intentionally putting the responsibility on you, but do you feel like this is your role? Because I think what you were saying earlier was like, when you were 9, you kind of felt like you didn't know if you were going to see your mom. Like when you reunited with them, and then again when you were older, it's like a gut feeling
Yeah.
that maybe God was preparing you for, was that you couldn't pinpoint it then, but it was kind of preparing you ahead of time for where you're at now,
Hmm.
to kind of be the head of your home. Do you feel that just came like as a natural thing for you, or do you feel like you kind of put that in your head like, okay, well, my dad's not here, so I have to step up and take that role? Because I know that that's a lot for you, especially like I said, you're very young.
Yeah.
So you're young right now, so even at that time, it's like what, 5 years ago, right,
Hmm.
when that happened.
Hmm.
So even being 20, um with your younger sister, because you're 4 or 5 years apart.
6 with the oldest.
Okay.
So she's
You have two
19.
sisters?
I have 3.
Three
So
sisters.
one's 19. The other one is 14.
Mm-hmm.
And then the youngest one is 10.
Okay,
Yeah.
so going through with three sisters, you're being the older brother. Um, are you very protective of them too? Like no boyfriends. You can't call my sister. Do you find yourself being like that with them too, or?
Yeah. I mean, I think I don't know how to put it, but I just want to touch on something that you mentioned.
Yeah.
Kind of like you said it was the first time I was separated from my parents for a few months. It was kind of like God preparing me for what happened after, right, with my father getting deported. Um, and and I think it's a difficult thing um, to even talk about in process, right? And so the only thing I want to share is that um, at the end of last year, I started going to therapy, and because it's always been in the back of my head. It's always like bugging. Not that's the wrong word, but
It's been
it's just
heavy on
a
you.
really
Yeah.
yeah, it's just a really heavy feeling, and something that I used to find myself really stressed out, really angry at sometimes, and it was like no, like I want to be happy and I want to be okay, and so also my girlfriend pushed me a lot to go to therapy, and I finally did it after like a couple of years of her telling me, um, and and I mean I think that has been really helpful, um, and I just want to share that for anybody out there that is like kind of like on the edge of doing it or not. And I think also something that stopped me was that I didn't have any money to pay for it. Even now with my insurance through my job, I still have to pay a big chunk, and but I really want to just focus on that.
Yeah.
And then on the other part, I do feel like I had to step up because my dad was no longer here. I was actually not living with my parents when that happened. Um, so then he got deported, and then uh, my mom had to move from like a big place, not a big place, but just the home that they had been in for like 10 years because she could no longer afford it. And so they went to a smaller place, and then I tried to be able to move my life back over here to Oxnard, and it took a few months, but I knew I had to do it, and again my girlfriend was really helpful on that process. Um, Even her deciding to come with us, to live with us was a big step. But yeah, we moved in, and I feel like sin querer without even wanting to, right? Like I stepped into that role. So like, um, I don't I'm not super overprotective because um, I grew up with my father kind of like always telling me what to do, and like just kind of like um, imposing on me, and I feel like that was part of me being like a little bit rebellious, and I didn't want the same thing to happen to my younger sisters. I want them to
Got it.
be um, free and open to be able to do what they really want to do. I tell my older sister, if you want to go to college, that's fine. If not, then leave it, and
Do
like
something
do
though. Yeah.
something. But um, and I and I feel like and there's nothing perfect about our relationships, right? But she actually just launched a business with a friend, and I forgot the Instagram name, but it's something picamuelas. So they're selling candies. So
Oh,
it's
okay.
it's it's really like some gummies with like chamoy and tahini and stuff like that. It's really good, and they started like a couple weeks ago, and they've been like buying bags from Amazon, buying the product and getting it together and doing deliveries and doing the whole thing. So
Oh, wow,
I'm
that's
really
cool.
I'm really proud of them. Um, and again, going back to what your question was, is yes, I stepped up to fill my father's role, but I didn't want to because I'm not my father, and
Right.
and it's not it it was a little bit hard at first to understand that it wasn't my responsibility to um, to raise my sisters,
Right.
but I'm there for them whenever they need me. So
Yeah.
yeah.
That's awesome, David. Um, oh my gosh, it's a lot. That's a lot, because you're young, and if I'm pretty sure your sisters are grateful for you and your mom as well, and um I hope that you see, just with your sister starting her business, that you played a big role in that. I'm sure, if she hasn't told you, just from hearing, the example that you've been to her, I'm pretty sure that that stemmed from that. So just know that you've probably inspired your sister and encouraged her, and your littlest sister, you know, there's no telling what she's going to do when she makes a decision.
Yeah.
And I think that for you to just even feel as not so much like trying to fill your dad's role as a dad, because you can't, but just as a son, and to be there as like, helping your family, I think that it's a beautiful thing, because where some, like you say, you could have went back to your wanting to go hang out and do nothing and just chill. But you've stepped up and really, like, you're a businessman now. And you're doing corporate events, you're advertising, you're doing all these things. So with people that you're coming across, because one thing that I also wanted you to share about your photo booth is it's not just a business either. You've got the promotion side of it, you're advertising for businesses, but then you're also advertising your own business. But do you want to share about what you were telling Jose and I, that there was a event that you had did, and that was kind of like when you realized, like, you wanted to be able to make people happy and see them smile.
Yeah.
Not so much with the whole selfie thing, because I'm pretty sure anybody, you can probably teach me or anybody else how to take a selfie. But what you're actually capturing with that one event that you were telling us, do you want to share with the viewers on that?
Of course. And I'll just say I won't share all the details. Just because
No, yeah, of course.
But yeah. I think that event was basically the moment that I realized that the photo booth did start as a necessity because I needed the money, and I felt that it was a good business opportunity. But it has turned more into something that I'm really passionate about doing. And basically, I did a wedding, and the I did a wedding, and we took a lot of great photos. But there was this one in particular where the couple was with the grandma of one of the bride, and unfortunately, she passed away a few months after that. And when they called me, they didn't have all the pictures of that, but they called me, and they wanted the photos, and I was able to give it to them, and just that moment was really like, this is not just photos,
right?
It's like we're really capturing memories, and we're really capturing things that are never gonna happen again,
Right.
And so I think that was kind of like the moment where I was like, yeah, I'm really, really passionate about doing this, and it's not just for the money. It's
right.
like
It's more than that.
I want to capture those moments.
Right.
So
to you, our viewers that are maybe just tuning in right now, because I can see that there's a few people that are inquiring. We have David Gonzalez with us. He's the owner, CEO, founder, entrepreneur of West Coast Photo Booth. It is a portable photo booth for weddings, birthdays, corporate events. If you're interested, we will provide a way that you can connect with him. We have a lot of people viewing, David, that are really proud of you. You've got Nydia, that's your girlfriend, right? You've got Yedit, one of your biggest fans. You have, let's see, there's someone that's asking, is this a photo booth company, Chantel? Yes, it is. West Coast Photo Booth is the name of it. Yedit said that she's very proud to see where you're at today. Bad things in our life make us stronger. Keep doing what you're doing with business and family. That's Yedit. And we already have inquiries, which we'll get into right now. But for those of you that are watching, if you're kind enough to share the link, please do. You can always catch us back on demand as well to get more information and to hear his story also. Just feel free to reshare the link. You can create your own watch party off of it, Silly Panda Media page. But we want to, again, help you promote with your business also. So, Chantal, we're going to answer as best as we can your questions. So Chantal's question is, she's asking, how much do you charge for 2 hours? She needs a photo booth for a reception they're having next weekend for a friend who has stage 4 cancer. And he's 30 years old with 3 kids and wanted to capture some special moments. So we'll connect you, Chantal, with him. Of course, depending on events that you have booked also. We'll be able to connect you with him. We'll also DM you with his information. That way you can deal with him direct on that. But David, what are you, so you did say corporate events, weddings, basically pretty much anything that someone would need a photo booth for. What kind of backdrops do you have? Like, is this something that you only have certain themes that you cover, or is it depending on what you find out what type of event it is? Do you create your own type of backdrop, or can people create their own and then you just provide the photo portion of it? How does that all work?
Right. Really quickly before I answer your
Yeah.
question, I wanted to tell Chantal that if our schedule permits, we would be willing to donate our time for that event.
Oh.
And really the reason is because I understand where she's coming from. My grandma is actually battling cancer, and she's actually, well, I won't say because she doesn't want us to share, but yeah, she's having surgery soon, and yeah, I
It's
just
okay.
wanted to say that.
Yeah, no, I get it.
And just back to the backdrops. We'll talk.
Yeah.
Back to the backdrops. Yeah, we have some really beautiful backdrops, and the one I really like the most is a green screen that we do, and I really like it because we're able to just kind of like immerse people into the
Sorry. Go ahead. You're back to your green. Green is my favorite color, by the way.
So again, just the green screen. We actually just did an event for UCSB. Their theme was City of Stars, and it's based on a movie called La La Land. And we were actually able to create this green screen where they were actually in one of the landscapes of the city view and the stars, and it was really
nice.
beautiful, and people really liked it, and I feel like in my creative side, that's what I like to do the most, because I'm really able to bring people to places they never thought they could be, right? Like we can really put anything in a green screen, right? Like we did that for that movie. We are able to put like Egypt.
Oh, that's cool.
And really anything anything that's thinkable can be done in Photoshop, and we can just place it behind us, you know.
Wow, that's cool.
And really, again, just immerse people in that feeling, and we provide props that are really like theme specific, and custom props, and also we really like simplicity. So something that became famous with the photo booth world is thanks to it's one of the Kardashians. I'm not really into like that type of stuff, but I think Kim, right? Kim. Well, I'm pretty sure it's Kim Kardashian.
Okay.
She's the oldest, no?
We'll go with Kim.
Yeah. She basically had a party, and they had a photo booth, and it was a white backdrop, and it was a black and white filter. Super simple. Anybody can do it. But they really made it really popular, and so we're able to create that very simple but beautiful moments.
Yeah,
really.
that's cool. What would you say has been the most unique one that you've done? Was it the one you were talking about with the?
I think that's been my favorite
screen?
one with the UCSB and having the La La Land, right? Like,
yeah.
So it's basically a picture of LA. I don't know if it might be somewhere that we can put it. I'll be able to put it on my Facebook.
Okay, yeah, we'll put it up. Okay, so you've got your different backgrounds, and you can pretty much create anything that you want. How can people contact you? I know you are on Facebook, West Coast Photo Booth. No, West Coast Booth.
Yeah.
West Coast Booth, because a lot of people take your Instagram name. You want to create your own unique, and then you realize, oh, that's taken, and you try to redo it, and oh, that one's taken too.
Yeah.
So originally it was, or is right now, it's West Coast Photo Booth.
Yeah, that's the name of the company.
On Instagram, Facebook. Do you have a Twitter account?
Yeah, Twitter. And what's that other one?
What's the other one? Are you on Snapchat?
No.
Okay. You don't want to get involved
Pinterest.
with Snapchat. Pinterest.
Yeah,
okay, Pinterest too.
West Coast Booth.
West Coast Booth.
Yeah. Actually, a Canadian company took our West Coast photo booth.
Darn those Canadians. So that's how you can reach David. We'll also connect you. Chantel, we will connect you with David. She's very grateful. You'll be able to look at all the comments for that everybody's saying. So Chantel will connect you with David. And then you have a website also, same thing.
The website is actually wcbooth.com.
That was from his Colonia days, right?
Yeah.
I can't picture you. I can't picture it. I don't know, David.
At some point,
I don't believe you.
I had a mohawk. I was bald. Yeah.
David.
I told you it was a 180.
Did you do the shorts, the pants cut off shorts with the tube socks too, and Converse?
Long socks,
you did
Converse.
not.
I did.
Oh,
yeah.
I need to see a photo booth picture of that. That's what you need to have a new backdrop is, like with the back in the day, right?
With the
with the Converse. Yeah. So I mean, I'm really glad that you were here tonight to be able to share your story. And it's much heartfelt. You know, I can't say that I can relate because I was born here, but I can say that anybody else that is born here and don't experience what you've gone through. If anyone saying that it's too hard to own a business, and if you're born here, and to our viewers that are watching, I don't mean this like in an insulting way, but we cannot complain. David, you're a perfect example. You know, you have lots of things against you, you know, where you could have just easily said, I'm just going to lay low. But you've overcome all of that, and you're moving forward, and you're going strong. And, you know, we wish you the best of luck in your business, and I can only see it just getting bigger. And for those of you that are watching, again, we'll connect you with David if you're interested. But give him a shout out too, you know, refer him. If you know anybody that's going to be having any big events, you know, connect them with him, because there's a lot of businesses out there. I'm pretty sure that there's a lot of photo booth businesses. But again, it's not just a business. You really do care about your clients, and you really do care about making memories. And it means more than just making money. It's not just about that. That comes with it, but it's more than that. And I think that that makes a huge difference in the quality of what you do, and then also making it a memorable experience for people. So, I'm very proud of you. And I know your girlfriend's very proud of you because she's watching, and you continue to, you know, speak highly of her. And so I'm glad that you found someone who's able to keep you on track, not just get you on track, but keep you on track. And she also helps you, right? Your girlfriend and your sisters.
Yeah. When I need the help, they're there.
When you need the help. So keep moving forward, and then, you know, we'll stay in contact with you. And thank you for joining us tonight. And to all the viewers, again, this is David from West Coast Photo Booth. If you missed it, he's under West Coast Booth. We'll link you again to connect to him if you're interested. And we thank you for joining us tonight on our Thursday Night Live with Silly Panda Media. Reshare the link. You can catch us on demand. And that's it for tonight. And we will see you next Thursday right here, 8 o'clock p.m. Have a good night.